Hey guys, what's up? I'm Mark Richmond from Chefknivestogo. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to hold an angle and basically give you the key part of what I think is the most important thing when you sharpen, especially when you're just learning, which is how to hold the knife and angle control. There are a few different ways to hold the knife when you sharpen. I'm going to teach you one way here. There are other methods, but they all kind of share similarity in one respect, which is you need to get your hands all over the blade. And the reason why is you want to control that blade as it moves back and forth on the stone. So this is how I hold the knife. I do what I call flipping the knife. I will sharpen this way, and then when I turn over the knife to sharpen the other side, I switch hands. Some guys will put the knife edge away from them like this, like I do, and then they'll flip it over and they'll sharpen this way. Both are perfectly fine to do. It just feels more comfortable to me to flip the knife instead of rotate the knife. The whole idea of sharpening when you're first starting is you really want to just be able to learn how to run the blade back and forth like this with a consistent angle. And by a consistent angle, I mean like this. And you want to do that along the whole edge until you get a burr. And the burr is a little flap of metal that curls up on the back side of when you're sharpening it. And you can feel it, that's why I do this, you can feel it scratch the pads of your fingers when you do get one. And then you can deburr it by flipping it over and doing the same thing. It's called chasing the burr. Today we're going to use one stone. Instead of doing a big progression, we're just going to use the Sharpening glass 2K. You don't need a whole bunch of stones and a whole lot of stuff to sharpen a knife. One medium grit stone will do the job. I'm using a Kohetsu with Aogami Super, and this was a customer that sent this in. It has some little chips, very small, on the edge, and so this will be part of my routine to sharpen the knife for this customer. So, holding the knife, here we go. So I usually will put my forefinger on the blade like this, and then my thumb will go right on the back. The idea here, this is the key part, you need to choke up on the knife so that you have good feel. Wobbling will destroy the edge that you're trying to grind, and if you wobble, that's usually the reason why you don't have success when you first start. So we want to stop wobbling, and wobbling can happen this way as well. So what I do is I choke up, put my finger here, put my thumb here, and then I usually put my 3 fingers here. You could put 4, you could put 2, you could put 1. This gives me coverage for the whole blade. And I often will walk my fingers back and forth. So here we go. So the only thing when you're first starting that you want to concentrate on is keeping this angle the same as you draw the knife back and push the knife forward. And you can control the blade pretty well just with these 2 fingers on your right hand. So this is the key. These will help you as you move along. You can apply pressure as you get away from the stone. Otherwise, you can tip the knife this way because you don't really have a lot of control on the tip area. So here we go. The only thing you want to focus on is going back and forth with an even angle. And then you want to move it over slowly but surely up the edge. And my fingers, as you can tell, I'm just kind of, as I'm going, I'm kind of walking them out toward the tip. Okay, so the tip area is a little, requires a little bit of extra explanation. If you keep this angle all the way through, you start to miss the edge here. And the reason why is it's much more comfortable and easy to rotate that edge away from you so the point is going that way. And then raise the knife just a little bit to compensate for the extra distance you have for the angle. And with practice, you'll feel yourself being on the edge or off the edge. If you're too low, you really aren't sharpening, you're thinning, and that's a discussion for another video. Anyways, that's why you see me twisting to get at the tip area and the belly at the front of the knife. Okay, so now I'm going to flip the knife over. I don't know if I have a burr, doesn't feel like it yet. I would need to sharpen this a little more to be done on that side. But let's say we find the burr, scratches my finger a little bit. We're going to flip it over and we're going to do the same thing. Now, I'm holding the knife the same way, thumb, forefinger. That gives me the control. I don't know why, but I usually keep my fingers together on this side and I kind of slide them instead of walking them. I don't know why. Who cares? I also, for some reason, put my thumb on the spine too. I've got my whole right hand on the blade here, holding this knife in position. And whatever you do, if you can achieve a nice, firm, little bit of pressure on the stone, drawing it back and forth at a consistent angle, I guarantee you're going to get an edge. And that's what we're looking for. You just need to practice until this feels second nature to you, and you can do it without thinking about it too much. And that's why I usually recommend you try one knife at a time, sharpen it to completion, and put your stone away, and then come back the next day or a couple days later and do another one. Don't try and do all your knives in your kitchen all at once, because you want to have the practice going back in, cleaning up your stone, sharpening the knife, and remembering how to draw this blade back and forth at a consistent angle. It's kind of weird talking when sharpening. I never talk when I sharpen. I usually am just sitting here and doing it. Alright, I'm actually getting some burr up here. This one still needs some work, but I'm not going to bore you with the rest of it. To deburr, if you don't, I used a deburring block the last time, but if we were going to sharpen this start to finish, this is a nice way to take the burr off, make sure that the edge is cleaned up. This is basically, there's a couple ways you can describe this. It's called edge trailing strokes. It's also called, I call it stropping, because that's how you strop on leather or whatever you're using. This is just a finer way, more gentle way to grind the metal. And it's a good way to do it at the end when you really are just trying to clean the edge up, get rid of any burr that might be still on there. Okay, so that's today's lesson. Get your stones out and start practicing, and try to keep your fingers all over the blade for even pressure back and forth. I'm Mark Richmond. Stay sharp.